Or shot fire, officer down, shot fire, officer down. Got a city officer down, shot fire.
223, be advised, we have a visual on enemy paratroopers in grid Papa uniforms.
Welcome to the Resilient Warrior Nation, a podcast dedicated to inspiring hope and healing for first responders, military veterans, and anyone facing PTSD and trauma. Hey guys, welcome to another podcast episode of the Resilient Warrior Nation. I'm your host, Mike Morgan. As I do every episode, I like to explain why I wear the shirt. This is not a proclamation. This is the name of a company owned by a man named Eddie Penny. Eddie is a former Navy SEAL. And as I sat down and watched a podcast episode of the Sean Ryan Show in the spring of 2023, I had no idea that Eddie was about to change the literal trajectory of my entire life. I'm a 30-year police officer. Up to that point, I had been retired for almost a year. Post-retirement, I began experiencing feelings of depression, anger, rage, just general unhappiness. I wake up some days in a good mood, and one negative thought would just put me in a cycle of, I don't want to say despair, but let's just say sadness. I could not figure out the origination. I'm pretty self-aware. I knew I wasn't my, happy-go-lucky self, but I just could not figure out why. So as I sat down and watched this podcast episode, Eddie was speaking about the Extortion 17 incident in which a Chinook was shot down in Afghanistan by insurgents, killing all 38 aboard, including 17 SEALs. It was their largest loss of community in one event ever. Included in the dead was Jason Workman, Eddie's best friend. And as Eddie recounted the story of escorting Jason's body back, first to his hometown in Utah and then to his final resting place in Arlington National Cemetery, he was upset, rightly so. He was crying. I simultaneously began thinking about a call that I buried that occurred 5 years before, of a little 2-year-old girl that was found floating in a pool, beautiful little girl named Dana Sikorsky. And as I listened to Eddie speak and I thought about Dana, I literally lost it, started crying like a baby, said to myself, I had no idea what was going on. What the fuck is happening right now? I had no idea. Kind of put two and two together rather quickly, realized that I'd suffered some sort of PTSD in my career. I mistakenly believed that PTSD was only caused by seeing your brother or sister next to you get killed. Mine was from being inside of other people's most devastatingly intimate moments over and over and over for 40 years. So I realized that I needed help. I did not want to live the rest of my life being this ornery guy who hated everyone and everything. I've seen it far too often. Wasn't sure how I was going to heal. First thought about traditional therapy. Didn't think I'd be able to speak to some man or woman sitting behind a desk, telling things I've done and seen, and they were going to be able to help me in any way, shape, or form. Furthermore, I had seen these special force operators for the most part on Sean's podcast and others speaking about coming home from war, self-professed broken men, and then the consequent healing journey with psychedelics. So at first, I dismissed that as a non-possibility for me. I thought that they were drugs. They are not. They are plant-based medicines. I smoked weed in high school. That's the extent of any drug I've used. But again, these are plant-based medicines. So I started paying much more attention, started doing research, decided ayahuasca was calling me, went to a facility in Florida. My wife and I moved to Florida in late December 23. March 1st of 2024, we went to a facility called Soul Quest Ayahuasca Church in Orlando. Literally over the course of a weekend, changed my entire life. For all intents and purposes after the first journey. And as I was coming out of it, the universe and I was speaking, I know it sounds weird, but the universe was telling me that my life's purpose was go forth and help other first responders and vets heal their trauma and PTSD issues. I said okay out loud, having no idea how I'd implement it. One thing I decided to do was create a podcast to do for others what Sean Ryan's did for me. And in that, I bring on ordinary people who've done extraordinary things with their lives. We speak about their highest of highs, lowest of lows. And my hope is that those of you who are going through it right now can identify with them, gain hope, gain inspiration, realize you can heal too. There is nothing special about myself nor my guests, but we've all gone through this healing journey, and you guys too. Just raise your hand, get the help that you need, and I promise you it is there. So in that vein, I'm very excited actually, to introduce one of my next guest, Steve Morris. Steve is the founder of Franklin Personal Fitness in Franklin, Tennessee, and a host of the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast, a former commissioned officer in the United States Navy, and a former police officer with a local department. Steve brings a leadership style forged through service, discipline, and accountability. He is a father of two and a committed advocate for faith-centered growth, mental resilience, and purposeful living. Now sober for over 4.5 years, Steve openly shares his journey of recovery, responsibility, and rebuilding, using his experiences to help others pursue clarity, strength of character, and sustainable discipline, both personally and professionally. Through his work, Steve challenges individuals to take ownership of their lives, lead with integrity, and live with intention. Steve, unbelievable to have you on, brother. Welcome to the show.
It's good to see you, man. Hey, I thought I was special. You said none of your guests were special, man. You hurt my feelings.
I didn't say not special. I said ordinary.
I'm messing with you. Hey, real quick, let's
special.
check this out. I need an autographed copy of this, man.
Absolutely, brother. That's crazy. You're holding up a book with my face on it, man.
I know, right?
Book.
I'm reading it right now, dude. So
awesome.
It's a good book.
If it's a shitty review, keep it to yourself. But if you like it, you can see anything you want for the next hour and a half. The floor is yours.
That's right. That's right. No, I already did your review, man. It's too late to change it.
Oh, I know it is. That's awesome. I called Amazon and make sure that it's
no doubt. No
That's
doubt.
so funny. Yeah. So just I always for transparency's sake, I was on Steve's show a few months back. Steve and I have become friends. We've never met in person, but we've become each of our own biggest supporters. Steve's been phenomenal, and he definitely props me up with everything I do. And it's beautiful to hear words from a fellow brother, veteran police officer. Means a ton, and I hope I give you the same that you give me. We were just talking about. We get more support from people we never met than some of our family members, which I think is sad as could be, but it is what it is. I don't know. I have no expectations from people. Sometimes I go in there thinking that I would react a certain way, and you expect people to react a certain way, but you shouldn't do that because they'll break your heart when they don't. So, I don't know why some of these people react the way they react, but it is what it is. So, brother, it is great to have you on, and you're kicking ass. Your podcast is doing fantastic. I love what you do technologically as well, not just the quality of the verbiage. Like you should be a production guy in TV, man. It's unbelievable some of the stuff you're doing.
Man, I'm just one of these guys that I don't half-ass anything, and I'm all or nothing, man. And so I have the unique schedule where I own a business and I've got free time in the evenings to work on it and to just get as much out. And I co-parent, so when I don't have my little boy, man, I'm just trying to do everything I can to get guests scheduled, put content out, do episodes. So it's fun, man. I love it. Like I really feel like God has given me this platform to help people and kind of share my testimony and then bring guests on and let them share their testimonies. I love it, dude. It's given me a whole new purpose in life, and it's really fun.
Me too.
It's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I echo your sentiments. And I was just thinking past few days, like, man, I'm so lucky to be in the position I'm in. I live that life of gratitude now, but sometimes you fall into old habits, and you're like, I wish I would have done this, wish I would have been more successful here, wish this was going faster. But then you stop and you're like, whoa, man, in the limited amount of time I'm doing this, I'm doing pretty good. And just having the ability, I did a post today about my lowest of lows. Out of those have come my greatest highs. And, sometimes when you're going through them, all you're doing is fighting to get that next day and you don't realize it. But you look back and you're like, wow, man, that gave me the mental fortitude and resilience to do what I'm doing now. And the fact that I can help others just by telling my story is so powerful to me. And the universe has told me, like, I put you through everything for a reason. Truly, truly believe it.
Well, man, I want to say too, Mike, before we get into this, man, I really appreciate you reaching out to me and coming on my platform, because when we first met it was still kind of new and up and coming, and you were super humble and just kind, and you were a man of your word. You actually like followed through, unlike some folks that have reached out, and I just appreciate that, man. I really do.
Absolutely, brother. Some of these people start getting big heads and think who they are. I will never ever be that. And if I say I'm going to do something, I'm doing it, and I expect people to be the same. I like to think of myself as an honorable man. And no matter what happens, wherever this goes, man, I will always be this dude that just calls himself this dude. Like, I am nothing special. And, it's just beautiful that I'm able to help people by being vulnerable. That's the greatest thing I've gotten out of psychedelics. It's allowed me to become vulnerable, because my emotional IQ is not too high. Before 2 years ago, man, I was closed. I was just an angry dude. That's how I was raised. That's all I learned. You wouldn't be able to tell it for the most part. I, led with a sense of humor, deflected everything, but, deep down, everything was anger. So, all I want to, now it's about love and helping people, and anything I could do to help anyone, I will do till the day I die. So anything I can ever do, brother, and I know you're the same. So 100%. So let's get down to a brass tacks here. Let's let everyone get to know you, where you're from, how your childhood was, where'd you grow up, who'd you grow up with.
Yeah, so I was born in a little town called Enterprise, Alabama, and that is home to the Army's flight school in Fort Rucker, Alabama. My dad was active duty Army in flight school when I was born. Lived there for about 6 months, and we moved to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Most of your viewers are familiar with Fort Campbell, 101st Airborne, Air Assault, 5th Special Forces Group. The 160th is there, Night Stalkers, Special Operations Aviation Regiment. Lived there for about, I think, 7 years. Then lived in Germany for a while.
What did Dad fly, Steve?
He flew Blackhawks. He was one of the original guys in the 160th.
Sweet.
So he's a plank owner in the 160th.
Awesome.
So I grew up with a father that was not home a lot. And I've said this before in other podcasts, but the 160th back in the 80s did not exist. So his job, even on base, our neighbors did not know what he did for a living. They knew he was a pilot. They didn't know what unit he was in. And sometimes they even flew in civilian clothes.
Really?
Yeah. They were the premier unit that worked with Delta and 6 back in the 80s. And neither one of those units existed. So I didn't really know the details at that age because I was so young, but I knew whatever he did was really special.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was your relationship between you and he? Were you guys close?
I wouldn't say we were close. I mean, Dad was there for most of the big holidays, but for the most part, my mom raised myself and my brother. So it was more of I took on kind of that protector role at a young age because I have a younger brother and was kind of the man of the house. Once he left that unit and we moved to Germany, things kind of changed, but we just didn't have a lot in common, man. Like, and reading your book, I kind of could relate to some of your childhood. It was, he's a loving father, but I don't know how to put it, man. It's not like what you see now from all the mental health experts talking about parenting. I always feel like I had to prove myself. I always feel like I had to be the best at everything. I had to get the attention or the validation. Like I wasn't good enough. And
would he acknowledge it if you were, the best or something you did great, or it was just that's the way it was supposed to be?
As I got older, I mean, he was at all the games and practices and stuff like that. But my dad didn't play sports, so we didn't have that in common. It was more of just, I'm going to come because it's the right thing to do, and I support you. But I never was like told like, hey, I'm really proud of you, or you're doing so good. I never really got that until later in life.
Okay.
And I've learned to kind of heal from that as I've done my own healing and not hold that resentment. Like, so to kind of put it in perspective for your listeners, my dad was in special operations in the Army, so I wanted to do the complete opposite of what he was doing. I didn't want to be like him, so I wanted to be a SEAL. I was like, I'm going to go be a SEAL because I don't want to be a pilot just because my dad's a pilot. That's how I looked at it coming up, like through childhood. I wanted more attention, right? I wanted to be like, oh, okay, I did this, so now I'm up here. So I looked at it as a competition, All
right, makes sense though. It's funny, brother, because I never realized during my entire career life really what I don't want to say. It's funny when I talk about it. I always want to make sure I don't sound like a victim, But the trauma in my childhood shaped me to become the man I am, do the things that I ended up doing. And I never realized that. I never really sat down and spoke to the guys I work with about their childhoods. It was never a concept that childhood kind of molded us to go into these careers for whatever reason, whether you want to stop bullying, whether you want to prove it to your dad, whether you do really traumatic childhoods and you want to stop evil for whatever reason, if it was perpetrated upon you. But I never had a clue. And looking back now, it makes all the sense in the world because a large percentage of us had traumatic childhoods.
Yeah.
So as you're growing up now, you the athlete, you're friends with everyone, you more keep to yourself type of kid?
So I got bullied at a young age, didn't play sports until like third and fourth grade. I was so in Germany, I had a big friend group, felt popular. When we moved to the States in fifth grade, I was the new kid. And I really struggled to make friends because I was living in a town right outside of Nashville that was like that small town mentality, And like the kids would ask me, like, where did you move here? Where did you move here from? And I'd say, well, I moved here from Germany. And they would say, what, are you German? And no, I wasn't German, but they kind of had that small town mentality. And so real standoffish. And so I learned as I got older, because I always had a lot of aggression as a kid. I was always angry. I was always pissed off. And I learned that if I could go and play sports, that I could basically get that aggression out without getting in trouble. And I could show, I could prove myself to the kids that thought they were badasses that they weren't shit because I was better than them, whether it was backyard football, basketball, baseball, whatever. So I kind of started to earn a reputation in sports. And then once I got in high school, I played for the high school team and played baseball. And that was kind of where I found my niche. But so I wasn't super popular in school just because I said this when I did my testimony the other day, I had this really deep-seated fear of hell, man. So like I thought if I did what the other kids did, I was going to go to hell. So I was deathly afraid of
doing in terms of what? What were they doing?
Like drinking, going to parties, hooking up with chicks, just like anything that I was told in Sunday school that was a sin. I looked at it like, oh man, I can't do that. And I wanted to get out of my town, and I saw college as a way to get a scholarship and get the fuck out.
Yep.
And I put everything into baseball. I was afraid if I like got a serious girlfriend or I would go party, not only would I go to hell, but then I would screw up any chances of getting out of that town. I had a really warped psyche, dude, as a teenager. I did. Like
today's episode is brought to you by Cutting Edge Testosterone Therapy, a veteran-owned, family-run clinic led by a retired first responder. At Cutting Edge, they help men and women rebuild strength, focus, and vitality through advanced hormone therapy, peptides, and performance-based weight management. Whether you've served your country, your community, or your family, Cutting Edge helps you get your edge back safely, professionally, and with people who understand what service takes out of you. Cutting Edge offers individualized care with no monthly fees or contracts. Learn more at cuttingedgetestosteronetherapy.com. Cutting Edge Testosterone Therapy, built by those who serve, for those who still do. Some of those messages, though, from organized religion are delivered like that, you know? Don't do this, don't do this, you're going to hell, you're going to hell, you're going to hell. It's amazing. It's such a form of control. You know, I have my relationship with God, but organized religion is not my thing for that reason, and, you know, a few others. But I hate when they do that to children, man, and they fear it. It's supposed to be a God of love, not fear.
Yeah. Well, and that's you're 100% right, man. I didn't see God as love. I saw it as I gotta act right.
Yep.
Or, you know, I'm gonna get a lightning bolt thrown at me or something.
Yeah, it's sad, but it is what it is. So
yeah.
All right. So did you end up getting a scholarship for ball?
No, I didn't. So I played for 3 different coaches in 4 years in high school. I actually got cut my sophomore year. I didn't get a scholarship offer, so my plan was to join the Navy. Right out of high school, and my dad never really like told us what to do or said, hey, I think you should do this, but he sat me down and he said, look, I wouldn't join the Navy enlisted. He was a warrant officer, and he's like, I would not go enlisted. He said, why don't you try college for a year, and if you absolutely hate it, then join the Navy. But I would try college out and then try to go in as a commissioned officer. So my dad was very helpful for myself and my brother, because he's in the military, how we got into the service. Like he really laid it out, like the different paths, how it is enlisted, how it is as a commissioned officer. So that was cool of him to kind of do that. But no, I ended up going to college for 5 years. I went 1 year at a school in Nashville. Then I ended up graduating from a school in Murfreesboro called MTSU that no one's probably ever heard of on your show. Biggest school in the state of Tennessee, but no one's ever heard of it. Yeah.
What's the acronym?
Middle Tennessee State University.
Oh, Middle Tennessee, yeah, I've heard
of it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We call it Mitsu here. But so yeah, I went to college, and then when I got out of college, I don't know how far you want me to go with it, but like basically I didn't play ball. Like I turned my back on baseball. I have the personality. If I get burned on something, I just cut it off completely. I'm like, fuck it, I don't need it. So I totally turned my back. I wouldn't watch it on TV. Really? I wouldn't go to my brother's games because he was a stud. He was a really good ball player in high school. I wouldn't go watch him play. I just said, fuck it, I don't want anything to do with it.
So it's like a girl that broke your heart, kind of.
Yeah, totally, dude. Yeah. It did. Yeah, so that's how I saw it.
Oh, sure.
That's exactly how I saw it. Yeah,
that's pretty funny. All right, so you get your 4 degree, and then bam, you going right into the Navy. That's your
no.
Mission, right?
So going in the Navy as commissioned officer, out of college is not an easy pipeline. There's a lot of no. So most guys go that really want to be an officer. They go to Annapolis or they do NROTC. And Vanderbilt University is the only school in the state of Tennessee I know of that has an NROTC program. And I did not have the grades for that. I mean, I was an exercise science major, so that's what I majored in. So I went the officer candidate route, which is in the Navy, they kind of look down on the OCS guys because you're technically enlisted first. The movie with Richard Gere, Officer and a Gentleman, that's OCS. So I worked as a trainer out of college for probably like two and a half years before I got a packet together, letters of recommendation. I had to go do an oral board in Virginia Beach with commanding officer of SDV2, which they're gone now. But it's a long process, man. Okay. So I did all that at the age of 25, and then I got my contract. So it was graduated college at 22 years old, and I didn't swear into the Navy until I was 25.
And as you go in, you still have aspirations of becoming a SEAL?
Yeah, so with the officer route, you basically you pick the route you want to go. So the way I was testing was for that job only. So the letters of recommendation, the interview with the CEO of SDV2, that was for me to get a contract to go to Buds. That's all I wanted. So yeah.
And how far did you get with that?
Not far. I got out of OCS, and they told us in OCS, we had Marine Corps drill instructors, and they told us, they said, you guys will not get enough physical conditioning while you're here. You need to be doing as much as you can on your own time, get in trouble, get dropped for push-ups. They actually wanted us to succeed. The DIs were dicks when they were on the clock, but after, when it was kind of like the end of the day, they're actually pretty cool. And the officers from OCS have the lowest, they have the highest attrition rate when it comes to SEAL officers. Really? Most of your officers in the SEAL teams that are not Mustangs are from Annapolis. They have the highest. They go to mini buds from the academy, so they're better prepared for it. So I did not get far at all during training, and that really that led me down a lot of dark paths, man. That's really where I started to kind of go off the rails, and it took me about 15 years to finally make peace with that, man.
So did you kind of feel like a failure after?
Oh, dude, yeah. So I feel like I let my family down. I let just because when I was growing up, man, people would always tell me, "Oh, you'll never do this. You'll never do that." And I remember when I was looking at the Navy, I had friends of mine, which I thought were friends. It's like, dude, you'll never leave this town. You'll never join the Navy. I had a serious girlfriend. I ended up marrying her, my first marriage. But people were just like, "There's no way you're going to leave." So I kind of took it as motivation, but when I didn't get through that training, it's all I ever wanted, man. That's all I fucking wanted. And, a really good friend of mine got through, and I was happy for him, but in a way I was kind of like, fuck, he's living the life I wanted. And my little brother is living the life that I always wanted. So yeah, I struggled with it for a long time, man. Really until I got sober, I didn't make peace with it.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. If it's, your vision quest, so to speak, and it doesn't come to fruition. I mean, I remember I was talking to Zach Ferguson one day, and I don't know if it was his class or another, but he said one guy quit, and he went to a hotel in San Diego and jumped off and killed himself. Damn. So, I mean, you put so much pressure on yourself, and, it's a shame that a lot of these guys think that they're letting everyone else down, when in fact, it's Dude, all inside their own head.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah, talk to me.
My hairstylist used to date him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's hysterical,
How fucking crazy is that, dude? I took your book in last week when I got a haircut, and I showed her because he's in the book. That's like, isn't that wild, dude? Yeah. Small world.
I'll text him.
You need to tell him.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Her name's Taylor. Yeah, her name's Taylor. You have to tell him. Yeah.
I won't
funny.
That one. That's
She'd kick my ass if she knew I said that. But
that's hysterical.
Yeah, she's married now, but yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Taylor, whatever he did, he got him through.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna blow his mind. I'm just like, hey, Taylor told me to say hi to you.
Yeah, no shit. You're gonna get me in trouble.
Great. Off air, I'll get the last name this way. I'll blow his mind. Like,
yeah,
what?
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, real small world, man.
It is, dude. It is.
All right. So you get through. Now, what do you do? Oh, you want to ship now afterwards?
No, thank God, man. I paid for my own college, and I was able to get out of the Navy altogether. So I ended up back in Tennessee, which is I didn't want to stay here. kind of like your book where you were talking about moving to Atlanta, getting living, your life and fresh perspective. I didn't want to be in Tennessee. I wanted to get the hell out of here and, live life, do this cool job. So I ended up back in Nashville, didn't know what to do with myself. And during that time, man, it was almost like you get the veterans preference points at departments and like you're a veteran, we're going to hook you up. I struggle with that, man. I applied at a couple of major departments and they didn't even use those. They're like, whatever. They wanted guys with experience in law enforcement. That's how I became a cop. I ended up going law enforcement when I left the Navy. But
did you really want to do it, or it was a job?
Man, it was a backup plan. Honestly, I missed the brotherhood and the camaraderie of the military, and I thought I'd find it in law enforcement. I didn't want to be a trainer because I was married by now, and it's not a consistent income.
Yep.
If you're working for a club or something like that. And so my first wife's best friend was dating a cop, and he was in the Marine Corps. And he's like, "Hey, dude, you should come check out this department. We got a SWAT team. Do all this." And I thought, all right, I'll check it out. So I ended up putting in for it. And for your listeners, and you've probably told people this before, becoming a cop is a long process, man. It took 6 months from when I tested to actually get hired.
That's fast, bro.
Is it really?
11 months in Atlanta at the time.
Damn.
NYPD was 2 years.
That's it. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's in your book. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. Even now, when I went to Suffolk County, that process took, let me see, I started in, it was about 1.5 years, Suffolk County.
Wow.
Yeah. They've streamlined them, I think, a little bit more because it's so hard to find people, so they want to get them in quicker.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, 6 months is not, and
I thought it was a long
6
time.
months is a lot for a job. Well,
Yeah.
Not taking that long. But, in comparison to others, it's not. But, yeah, I'll tell you, that's one thing about police, man. If your heart is not into it, it's a tough job.
Yeah. So, I didn't fit in either, man. Like
no?
it was, well, it was weird coming from a SEAL training environment to a local police department environment. And I can get along with anybody, but remember the first day of training, dude, they bring us in the room. I think there was 8 of us. They got new hires. They're yelling at us and they're, rah, 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 and none of these guys are in shape. They've all got fupas. They're all just look like a bag of shit. And I'm sitting here going, man, what is this place, dude? What am I doing here? Yeah. And when I got to the state academies, we had 2 academies we had to go through. It was a little different, but still, man, I don't know. There just wasn't the mentality that most of the guys had was not like mine. I was more, I want to get into shit. I want to get into fights. I want to go to hot calls. And a lot of these guys were scared to go in certain parts of town. Oh my God. They didn't want to interact. And I'm like, man, fuck that, dude. I want to do like what they did on TV. I want to, so. It's
funny you said that because I was in the Atlanta Academy and I was in great shape, man. 25. I was probably 215, 220. I mean, I was throwing up like 135s for reps on inclines. I was doing like 20 pull-ups, running like a 6-minute mile.
Damn.
And I wanted the academy to be harder. I'm like, come on, we could do, more. I was in that mindset. And there was one cat that couldn't do a push-up. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I had been training fighting for years. I was pretty proficient in fighting. Yeah. I'm like, you're going into this, your life could be on the line. You can't do a push-up? Like, it was embarrassing. And I was in there with a few Marines. I was, like, destroying them in PT. I'm like, you guys are fucking Marines. Like, I thought Marines were, like, in sick shape, but it just wasn't to be. And then when you were talking about going into the streets, man, you could see people that went to work every day of their lives fearful. Which I brother, it's like PTSD on a daily basis. I don't understand how you can put yourself through that. Yeah. Go get the training you need or leave this job. I just don't understand. You're not going to kindness your way out of some of these evil people.
It was almost like you were judged for being in shape. It was weird.
Yeah, they were running at first to the speed of the faster guys, and then they started running down to the fatties. So we were taking like double the steps. So I got massive shin splints.
Oh, wow.
It was like to the touch. I was almost in tears. That's how bad it was. Ridiculous, though. But it is what it is, man. It's, unfortunate. It's a quality of the applicants.
Yeah.
So how long did you end up doing in the PD?
Not long. I got in trouble off duty, so. I was a cop.
You can tell or no?
I won't get into the details, but so just for the listeners, I live in the town that I worked in, and my son's mom was at that same department. So there's a lot of just a lot at play here. But so I was a cop for about 2 years. I was at a work party. It was all cops, off duty. It was a Halloween party, and was heavily intoxicated. Some things went down, and I acted like a jackass and basically got hemmed up by my own department. Ended up, I resigned under my own power. I had to get a lawyer, and so I kept my post commission, so I was still a certified police officer. But I was in the news. It was bad, dude. And most people that I thought were my friends, they all stepped this way as soon as I got in trouble.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was kind of my first rock bottom moment. And really, alcohol was a big part of it. But, yeah, it really put a bad taste in my mouth. And I own what I did. Like, I fucked up. But instead of the department coming to me and saying, hey, you know, what's going on? What's your deal? Or having an outside agency handle the situation, it was handled by guys that I worked with. Yeah. And it like I said, I ended up getting everything expunged, and my first wife was cool through the whole process, but it really made me look at law enforcement in a different light. They eat their own, man, at least here.
No, I think it's a common sentiment, unfortunately. And even in like the healing space, I've heard guys talk about, people eating their own and they're supposed to be good. And then I've seen them eat their own. Like you just talked about not doing this and you're doing the same exact thing. Yeah. So unfortunately, unhealed individuals. So during this, the course of this, you said you're using alcohol. You realizing maybe you have a problem, or you're not really honest with yourself?
No, I wasn't honest with myself.
Right.
I've always kind of had a survivor mentality. So going through that process, I was able to find some kind of part-time work, doing some other things. And my goal was to get back to another department. And yeah, man, I never really looked at myself in the mirror and said, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? I was just kind of on this road to destruction. And that should have, I went to therapy, did some stuff, and that should have really, kind of woken me up, or, waking me up through the whole thing, but it didn't, man. It was more of I've used this before. I was so prideful that I felt shame because of what happened. Trust me, getting hooked up by your own department is not a good experience, especially when you're on TV. But I don't know, dude. Like I didn't feel supported, so I kind of said, all right, I'll just figure this out. And honestly, dude, I bounced back in a couple years, and I ended up building a business. Nice. And that's kind of where the alcohol just really took off, man, believe it or not.
So now you what is this, a training business?
Yeah.
And now, all right, so this is going well. Still married, or that's not?
So I ended up getting divorced from my first wife. Okay. And then dated my second wife pretty soon after. And when I started the business, I had put in another department that was real close to where I live, and I thought I had the job, and I was open with the chief. I told him everything I did, what had happened, and I didn't try to lie about any of the stuff where I got in trouble, and I thought I had the gig, and they passed on me, and then they called me like 2 weeks later to offer me the job, and I'd already started a business. So my son's mom, I've been married twice, my recent ex-wife, she told me, she was like, I don't think you should go back in law enforcement. She was a cop. She's a retired police officer. She said, I think you should do what you really want to do in life, and I think you really want to do training because it's all you talk about. And I said, I do, but I can't earn a living at this. And she said, if you start a gym, I'll pay the bills. I'll support, until you get things going. And so I started the first CrossFit gym in Middle Tennessee with a really good friend of mine. And so what I did is I turned half of that business into a personal training business. And that's what I still own today. It's 12 years old.
Nice.
And that's what I started in 2014 with no capital, man. I had no capital. I had no investors. I just started working with clients that were already doing CrossFit, and it just old school guerrilla marketing, man. It just started growing. And like I said, when I first came on, I'm all or nothing. I don't half-ass anything, good or bad. I don't half-ass it. Yep. And I was born again hard to be successful. And that success, it scared me, and I always considered myself a failure, and I didn't know how to handle it, man. I would self-sabotage on purpose, not knowing I was doing it, but it would fuck me up that I was successful. As crazy as that sounds, dude, I never felt good enough because I wasn't a SEAL.
Really?
Nothing compared to it, dude. Wow. Nothing. Not a damn thing. Not the birth of my kids. Not being a business owner. Not being a cop. Nothing, dude. Nothing could touch it. I put that on. I made an idol out of the SEAL team.
Yeah,
it's all I cared about.
It's amazing how strong the mind is, bro. I mean, incredible. Whether good or for bad.
Yeah,
it can ascend you to the greatest heights, or plunge you to the greatest depths. It's unbelievable. So. So are you like you still not forgiving yourself? I guess it's pretty obvious.
Not at that point. Yeah, not at that point. Man. So the business started to explode. It got busy fast, and I never drank during the week, man. I never drank to function. I'm not one of those guys that would have to like drink before work or get home from work and unwind, because I was so dialed in with my training and my nutrition. If we went to dinner, I'd have a couple beers, but as a trainer, and your wife could tell you this, I mean, you have to get up really early most days to go train clients. So you can't stay up all night drinking. So during the week, I was pretty disciplined. I wouldn't drink that much. But on the weekends, man, I'd blow it out. I mean, I would binge drink like a mother. And
getting like blackout drunk, like going hard?
Yeah, sometimes.
Right.
So I had these clients, and I never drank bourbon when I was younger. I used to drink, like beer most of the time, do shots, whatever. But they got me into bourbon. They were bourbon collectors. And when I discovered bourbon, man, it was over. I fell in love, and I was like, damn, this stuff is amazing. Well, it sneaks up on you, dude. So I would just get annihilated and not even realize it. And that was kind of so. What I've learned through my process, man, is I would drink to numb because I hated my life, I hated myself, and I didn't feel good enough. I didn't love myself. And I carried just this shame all the time. I hid it during the day. I could go to work and I could engage with people. I could be on. I could sell packages and interact with anybody. But when I got off the clock, like my ex-wife used to always say, I wish I could have the work Steve at home because he's way more fun. Because I was just pissed off all the time, dude. Wow. Like I just could not with my kids, like not with the kids, but just with her and with just myself. And I don't know, man, it was like I had a good life, dude. I just was too goddamn prideful to see it. I was just I wasn't in the SEAL team.
Yeah.
I mean,
isn't that amazing? All that success, yet all you're doing is lamenting the fact that you failed this one thing in your life. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's wild,
man. It's scary, and dude, I've heard this over and over. It's not like, so people who are watching this don't think that you're unique. Steve's unique for going through this, because it's amazing, man. One failure can wreak havoc and be more powerful than the other 100 successes that you've had. Like, that's incredible to me. Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing that you illustrate is the fact that you started your training business and you love doing that. I tell people all the time, do what you love and the money will come. Do not do something for the money, because you're going to be miserable. You're going to resent it later on. It's just not going to be what worked out. My father used to tell me that all the time growing up. Don't worry, you work for the money, and then you could deal with anything. It doesn't matter. You don't have to like it. Nah, I disagree with that entirely. Doing that 40 hours a week for your entire life, if not more, it's a huge part of your life. You need to love what you do, and then you don't work a day in your life.
Yeah, that's true.
So as this is going on now, does it finally come to a head at some point, somehow?
Yeah, so I started the business in 2014, and throughout, so we got married in 2015. So got married, second marriage, and I have a daughter from my first marriage. She actually just turned 16 last week. Crazy story. I was driving to work this morning. I have to drop my son off, different moms, and I passed my daughter. She's on her way to school by herself driving, and I was like, man, that's so weird. And I called her. And I said, hey, I just saw you at the light. And she was like, oh, you did? And I'm like, I'm just so proud of you. But it's weird, dude, like being my age and then seeing your 16-year-old daughter driving herself.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. But so I ended up marrying my second wife. In the business, she had a full-time job. I won't mention the company's name, but was still a police officer, but working for very good company. You would probably know some of the folks you worked with because you worked in Atlanta, and they have a major office in Atlanta. I'll tell you off camera who it was. But anyways, she had a great job, great benefits. So we had a good life, man. Business is going great. I was doing about 50 sessions a week.
Nice.
Pulling in way more money than I ever saw in my entire life.
50? Holy shit.
Yeah.
50, you're doing 5 days?
Yeah.
Wow, bro.
Well, I was doing 6. Back then I was doing 6 days.
Still,
I was doing Saturdays.
It's 8 a day, solid plus.
Yeah, I got busy fast, dude. And I'll tell you, the thing was, man, the CrossFit members had never trained traditionally before. And they were blown away. And my ex-wife was doing a bodybuilding show when I started the business. That was her first show. She only did one, but she was training for figure, and I helped her with it. And so people saw that and they gravitated towards it, and they just thought it was really cool because it was so different than CrossFit.
Yeah.
And it inspired a lot of people. So that it all kind of was going together at the same time, man. But yeah, so I wasn't like a maniac all the time, but I'll say this without getting too far in the weeds. My second marriage, the foundation was built on sand. And if any of your listeners are Christians, I'll understand that. There was no...
I think anyone will understand it.
Yeah, so it was not a... it kind of was doomed from the start. Yeah. And I didn't help matters at all. You know, I'll own my part in it. But I was not healthy. Obviously, I was struggling with alcohol abuse and self-hatred and all that kind of stuff. But so it was always kind of like a common, you know, a mixture ready to explode or whatever.
Yep.
But I actually quit drinking in 2016. I stopped. I quit for a year and a half. But I want to tell your listeners this, if they have ever dealt with alcohol before. I quit to prove her wrong, to prove to her that I could quit, that I wasn't an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I didn't go through any treatment program. I didn't go to like a church and find God. I just did it on my own. And if you're gonna really get sober, you have to do it for yourself. You can say all day, I'm going to do it for my family. You got to do it for yourself or you will not see it through, man. You have to do it for yourself.
100%. I just made a post today. I was in rehab, man. I had opioid addiction in 2012. And I said, for those of you who are ready to go in, if it's deep in your soul that you know you want to get clean, absolutely. But for those of you who are just going through the motions, don't even waste the 30 days, man. Mm-hmm. It's going to do nothing. If you don't want it more than anything you've ever wanted in your life, it's going to do nothing. You can't do it for anyone else. It's got to be for you.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, I quit for a year and a half, and then I kind of eased my way back into it. And that was in 2016. And so my little boy was born in 2018. He's 7 now. And man, I just continued to keep drinking. And I was excited about being a father again, but I wasn't ready really for the responsibilities of it. And looking back, that's one of my regrets, man. I know people say, oh, you should never have any regrets in life. But I should have been the guy I am today for him back when he was a baby, and for my daughter too, when she was younger. But so I kept drinking, and the marriage was just barely holding on. And yeah, man, it ended up coming to a head like really bad, in a bad way. And I can get into that in a little bit. But yeah, it finally caught up to me. My pride and my selfishness and my alcohol abuse finally. And I don't identify, for your listeners, I don't identify as an alcoholic. I never have called myself that, and I don't identify as an alcoholic. But
so what do you think? Why do you think you weren't, even though you had like this relationship with alcohol?
The reason I don't think I was is because my second divorce damn near killed me, dude. And I was married to a police officer. And guys out there that are listening, and you're cops, you probably can understand some of this. She had a background in forensic investigations, right? And it was just nasty, dude. It was so hard. I didn't want it. But if I was an alcoholic, there's no way I could have stayed sober during that divorce process. And then after the divorce, into the co-parenting side of the house, after seeing her new life begin. And the lessons in humility that I've had being replaced by someone else around my son and all of that. And I want to be clear. I don't hate anybody. I don't have any resentment. I've worked on all that stuff. But in those early stages, I was only sober for a year, man, when she told me she wanted a divorce. So if I'm convinced, if I was an alcoholic, there's no way I would have stayed sober, dude. There's no way.
Let me ask you this, and it really doesn't matter either way, but are there points at which you could have been an alcoholic? throughout the drinking?
If you look at the textbook definition, yeah, they would have labeled me an alcoholic. And I did go to a couple AA meetings, but I never had DTs or whatever, like where you're withdrawing, and I quit cold turkey. So for me, it was more of a binge drinking thing, and self-medicating, we're going to call it numbing. I just never had to have it to function, Right.
Yeah, and I don't think it's that important whether or not you have that label affixed to you. If it was interfering with your life, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't think you necessarily have to admit to being an alcoholic. Just you have a problem with that substance. I did with opioids. So, all right, you guys get through this divorce, and she goes on with her life. Mm-hmm. And you're hurt because you're seeing her kind of pick up with someone else. I'm assuming. I don't want to sound like this what you're saying right now.
Yeah, so I had a rock bottom moment where I had an accident back in October of 2022, or was that 22? I always miss 21. Sorry, and I had a chair go through my face. There was like a scar right here, and I had to get stitches, and I was wasted. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That's when she gave me an ultimatum in marriage counseling and said, go to rehab or I'm gone. And the therapist said, yeah, Steve, you're an alcoholic. You need to do this. You either pick alcohol or you pick your family. And I said, there's no way I'm going to pick alcohol over my family. All right, I'll go to, I didn't want to, but I said, I'll go to AA. Well, I don't like to be told what to do, man. And so I went to that first AA meeting. I sat in there. I was so nervous, dude. I mean, the town I live in is a small town, man. And I was looking over my shoulder. I was in a church on the square here, and I just wanted to make sure nobody saw me. And I'm sitting in there going, I cannot relate to any of this, man. None of these stories even like remotely make sense to me. Well, they gave me the big blue book, the AA book, and I got the book, and I left and made her happy that I went. So I went to one more meeting. It was a guys only thing, and it just wasn't for me, dude. So I read the book, but needless to say, I was basically on probation for a year. I didn't know this until after the fact, but I was on probation for a year to see if I could stay sober, and that would determine whether or not I would be able to see my son or not once she did leave me. I didn't know that until we went through the whole divorce process, but so I ended up finding a support group at a church I had joined, and man, every Wednesday night I went to this men's group, started a morning routine, started reading the Bible, started listening to podcasts like Jordan Peterson, Jason Tyler McLean, his book, One Drop of Water. I did all the things that you and I talk about now that I should have been doing in my 20s. And I know people say, well, you shouldn't have regrets. But I grew up. I became a man. I wasn't this angry teenager anymore. At 42 years old is when I finally grew up, man.
Hey, bro, I did it at 54, man. So it happens when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, totally.
Not that I was out doing crazy stuff, but, literally changed my life, and the emotional IQ shot through the roof from where it was. I mean, communication-wise, I was always self-aware, but I'm so much more self-aware in so many different ways now. And, just the way I talk to people and care for people, show I care. It's a different world, as you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's easy to say it should have happened earlier, but it happens when it's supposed to happen. And
it
you
does.
learn the things you learn when you're supposed to.
I think the hard thing for me has been kind of, what's the right word? Like not like, I guess, forgiving myself, and not sitting in that shame. And and for the most part, I'm pretty good with it, but trust me, man, it creeps in sometimes. And it's still weird. Like I have my son every Monday night, every Tuesday night, and I take him to school Wednesday morning. Like I dropped him off this morning, and I've been doing that for a while now, but it's still weird, dude. It's weird, like dropping him off. He's in second grade. He's only 7. And you come back home the next day, like this afternoon, and it's just me. And it's still it's a routine, and I'm used to it. But as a father, it's just, it's hard to explain it, man, unless you've been through the co-parenting thing. It's weird, dude. It really is.
No, I mean, I don't have children, but I'm sure you want to be with your kids more than that. So, it's got to hurt. But in the same respect, as long as it's quality time that you're spending with your son and, teaching him how to be a man, teaching him how to do the right thing. I mean, that's the way to, you could, first of all, you could spend all the time in the world, but if it's not a quality relationship, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So with the time you guys have, I'm sure it's quality time, and he's going to remember that his whole life.
Yeah, and I'm a better dad since I've been divorced. I wouldn't be as good a dad if I was still in the marriage. So yeah, I'm grateful for that, for sure.
All right, good. Hey, sometimes two good people, they just shouldn't be together, and they're better off separate. So, and especially better for the kids.
Right.
Some of the calls I used to go to, and I'm sure you've been there, man. These domestics, you're like, what are you two doing? These poor kids, man. The shit they see every day.
Yeah.
They think it's normality. This is how you create domestic abuse perpetrators, survivors. They think it's normality, and it's not. It's not healthy, but it is what it is. So once you get out of, now you're getting into the church. So what's going on now? Is you kind of evolving as a man? What are you doing? Tell me like how life is changing.
Yeah, so we get divorced. She kept the house, and I moved out, and I spent a lot of time. My therapist client doesn't like the word isolation, more like solidarity or whatever. But I really kind of solitude. Yeah, I kind of shut the world out, man. I was on this quest to be this man of God. Like I'm dialed in. I'm going to be this best guy I can be for my kids, and I'm going to heal, and I'm going to try to do the right thing. So I would I'd go to work. I'd go to church, and other than that, man, I really would just read books. I would journal. I would watch podcasts or listen to podcasts, train my ass off in the gym. I battled a lot of depression during the divorce and lost a bunch of weight, and I'd still work out, still eat my meals, but I just didn't have any mojo, man. I had no energy. I was just like, walking dead almost. I didn't want to be at work because I was so depressed. So I tried to turn my whole life around because I wanted to be there for my kids. Like I wanted to be that support system for them. And so I took about almost a year of not dating, and then I started dating my current girlfriend now, Shelly. We started dating, and so life for me, man, really is. Christians talk a lot about the flesh and the Holy Spirit. So I try to live for the Lord and not what I really want to do, because the guy inside of me would struggle to do some of the things that I've done as far as being a good man. And I still struggle when people say, oh, you're such a good man. I still struggle with that sometimes, dude, because I'm like, I'm trying to be, but I don't know, man. There's a lot of dark shit back there. But I don't.
Everyone struggles. I want to make sure that you understand that, because I understand that now. I would think the same thing. Everyone struggles. This shit is not linear, man. We just heal, and you're on this ascent, and nothing negative comes in your head.
Right.
You make no mistakes anymore. We're fallible human beings.
Yeah,
we make mistakes every day. But as long as you have that noble purpose in your heart to do the right thing, what more could you ask for, man? You're never going to be perfect.
Oh, I know. And I think the way I see life now is I want my son to grow up to be a better version of who I am. And I tell him this. I'm like, I don't want you to grow up like me. I want you to be better than me. But you don't have to be perfect. You can make mistakes, and I'll love you no matter what happens, what you do. I'll always be there to support you, man. I'll always love you. And I said, but I want you to be different than me. And I mean that. I don't want him to go through some of the things that I'm not going to helicopter parent, and you can't keep him from making mistakes or failing, but I want him to know that I don't want him to just walk the same path that I did,
Well, it's good. You guys seem like you have an open line of communication.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man.
Just to talk to your son. It's unfortunately few and far between that do that. And that's a beautiful thing as far as I'm concerned. I wish I had that with my father, man. Literally never sat down and have a conversation in my entire life. It's sad.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. That's rough.
It was my path, brother. Supposedly, a
yeah.
lot of people say our souls choose the path that we want to go down before we take this human form. That was mine. Made me who I am, and
Well, just to be clear for the listeners and the viewers, I didn't know this stuff. I learned this from John Delaney, who has a podcast. He's a therapist. He's been on the Sean Ryan show. John Eldridge, who wrote, I just forgot his book. Dang it. Anyways.
I'll look it up as you say.
Yeah, it's Wild at Heart, that book, Wild at Heart.
Okay.
So I've read a lot of books, and that's how I've learned, okay, I need to be more like this, not what I think I need to do. So the old school Little League parent mentality does not work. It obviously, look at us. It's like, so I'm trying to be I'm trying to be a disciplinarian, but in a way that's loving, a way that's gentle. Like if he messes up, I'm going to get on to him, but I also want him to know, like, I don't want him to be afraid of me is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't want him to fear me. And with my daughter too, my daughter's situation is a little different, but same thing. Like I'm really trying to love them like I need to love myself and not have these unrealistic expectations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
100%. I think a huge part of it is giving yourself grace. Just forgive yourself for the mistakes, you're going to make. I used to be on myself, man. The way I talk to myself, you stupid motherfucker, da.
Same way.
Man, I changed. My wife was talking to me last year, and she's like, no one talks to you as much as you talk to yourself. I'm like, I know. She's like, why do you talk to yourself? Like, because I say it like, stupid motherfucker. And now I'm like, come on, brother, you can do better than that. Like, literally. Yeah. And I've read a bunch of stuff where neural pathways are created by the way you speak to yourself. Your brain cannot distinguish whether it's you talking to yourself or someone talking to you. So the fact that you talk to yourself with love and with respect and kindness leads your brain to kind of go, I don't want to say like follow that path, but it's as though someone else is talking to you.
That's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was like blown away. I'm like, get out of here. But I honestly think it's true, man. The way I talk to myself now, just, I don't know. I'm so much easier on myself, even when I make mistakes. I'm like, bro, come on, man. You can do better than this. Yeah. And I don't know. It's like encouragement. It's weird. It sounds funny when you start doing it, but
I have to try that.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Watch, you're like, nah, it didn't work, man. No.
That's funny.
So what's going on today now? You have obviously the personal business, training business is flourishing. Your podcast is flourishing. Now, how did that come about to begin with?
Yeah, funny story, man. So the first date I had with Shelly, I did exactly what you're not supposed to do. According to the books, I was very open and transparent, and I basically just laid it out and was like, this is the shit I've done. This is what I've been through. If it's too much, that's cool. No big deal. I've been divorced twice. I've had a drinking problem. And she just let me talk. And as we continued to date, she just was kind of like, you should do a podcast because you've got a really strong testimony. And I was on a podcast back in February of 2023. And it's called Through the Trauma Podcast. I was the first guest on that show ever. And I was terrified, dude. Like I was still legally married, but in a divorce process. And I was trying to be careful what I said. I was talking about all my stuff. My clients, this for your listeners, my clients that I have in the business never knew I was a police officer.
Really?
I never talked about it. I never talked about the way I abused alcohol because I was ashamed of it, man. Yeah. The way I went out, I didn't want them to know. And, so I never talked about that stuff. So when I went on this podcast, I was pretty open. And it just kind of, I'll put it this way, man, like in a spiritual sense, I saw it as a way for me to help other people, but also to show I have church hurt too, but so many people that have had church hurt and all the bad stuff you read about religion and some of the priests and stuff like that, it was a way for me to show people like, hey, regardless of my past and what I've been through, like I understand now that Jesus loves me no matter what I've done, and I can have a relationship with him. And I felt like I could share my testimony, all the dark things that I've done, and I could still, be an example to people that you can come back from it and your past doesn't define you. So Shelly's encouragement kind of got me into thinking, okay, I should do a podcast. And that's kind of how it started, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love everything about it, man. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And listen, people don't really care about your wins, but then you start talking about your losses and everyone identifies with them. Yeah. And, I remember when I first started doing this, before I started my podcast, I was talking to my mindset coach, Taylor Kavanaugh, and I'm like, I'm a poser if I don't get down and tell everyone everything I've done. I have to do it. I'm like, I have to tell the world that I was in rehab and had an opioid addiction, man. I forgive myself, but bro, like, I don't know, man, it's going to be embarrassing again. And, we talked through it, and I'm like, I have to. So just started speaking about it, and, it gets easier every time. And if it's going to help one person, I'll do it all day long. But listen, man, talking about your biggest missteps, it's easy for people to sit here and watch us do it. But if people who are watching this really sit back and just think about talking about the biggest screw-ups you've ever done in your life and making it public, Now tell me how easy you guys think it would be. Like, Steve, I give kudos to you, bro. Like, talking about it. It takes balls to get on here and talk about your biggest missteps. Anyone can get on here and talk about the greatest things they've done and their accomplishments. But talking about your biggest fuck-ups, that's another story entirely.
Yeah, it is, man. It's still kind of weird sometimes, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
But that's what resonates with people, and that's what they want to hear, and that's what they're going through right now. So that's what they want to, they want to hear how you got through it. So that's the biggest thing. So what's like, as you're going through the podcast, what do you think is the biggest thing you've learned as a podcaster, or you learned in your healing journey?
That's a good question, man. Biggest thing I've learned, that people are carrying a lot of unseen scars and a lot of trauma, and they just want to feel loved, man. They want to feel like they have a purpose in life and that their life has value and meaning. And there's so many of us, myself included, that have gone through life just wanting to feel that, wanting to feel appreciated. And I really am fortunate that I've had so many good guests that have the courage to come on and share their stories. Because you're right, Mike, it's not easy. And I think it helps resonate with other people out there that maybe don't feel that self-love or aren't ready to start healing or working on their mental health. And they can see that other people maybe feel the same way, but they decided, hey, you know what? I need to address this. This is as important as my physical health or whatever. Like, I need to really work on this to not only be a better person, but to learn to love myself, because my life has meaning. That's the biggest thing I've seen out of it.
Yeah, that's great, brother. Yeah, it's true about seeing other people's problems. Like, I referenced Eddie Penny told the story. If I didn't see that man on that podcast and he wasn't letting himself be vulnerable, dude, I don't know if I'd be here today. I mean, I never had suicidal ideation, but who knows? It could have evolved to that. Could have evolved to me, into me taking my life. I like to think it never would have, but who knows what it may have been. But for that man letting himself be vulnerable and just subconsciously giving me permission, this absolute warrior, to cry, literally changed my life. Like, I used to, every time I said those words, I would start crying, bro, because it's so powerful to me. And he's got no idea. That's the funniest part about it. Dude's got no idea he changed my entire life.
You never know. You might come across him someday.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's going to be on this podcast. I know I'm going to meet him. I know he's going to have a 235-pound dude crying on him. But, it's already happened. It's just a question of when.
Yeah.
But again, like, I thank him for allowing yourself to be vulnerable, because you literally changed my life. I didn't even know what was going on with me until that happened. And, like, that's the scariest part, man. I thought I had pretty good self-awareness, brother, but I had no idea what I was going through, to be honest with you. I don't know if you experienced the same.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned him, because we talked about this, I think, when you were on my show. That same episode, he mentioned a book called Bondage Breaker, and it's about spiritual warfare. And that led me to doing a 5-hour counseling session.
Wow.
And it unlocked all kinds of stuff, dude. Like, it showed me when I developed pride, when I developed shame. So I developed shame at 5 years old. And I carried that.
Why 5, do you think? Or why 5?
What's the best way to word this? I experienced at 5 years old, I have sexual related childhood trauma. And so I basically locked that in and didn't think I thought about it really until St. Patrick's Day of 2011. So I don't know how old I was then, but it got unlocked that night. And but anyways, that really kind of charted my course for my adult life, because that's why I had so much shame, why I was so hard on myself. I didn't know any of this till I did this counseling session, but Eddie Penny talking about it on the Sean Ryan show, because I watched it, and he was DevGuru, and those guys are phenomenal. I'm like, man, this guy loves Jesus, and he was in DevGuru. That's badass. You usually don't. I used to get made fun of in the Navy because I was a Christian. But
really?
Oh, dude,
wow.
Yeah. But yeah, so that kind of like charted my course, and I never realized it, dude. Because I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to. That's why I drank so much. That's why I hated myself. And I did an episode last weekend on my show. I did my testimony, and this is like, I'm giving you a shout out. I'm gonna give Xander a shout out because I know he's been on your show. I posted a clip of me losing it. Like, I was not in a good place. I was upset, and I thought, I'm gonna show that I'm not perfect. Just because I host a podcast doesn't mean I have it all together. And you guys are like just commenting saying, I'm glad you're still here. Like that kind of stuff, dude, is like, you guys will never know how much that means to me, because it's easy to do this and host and talk to people and hear their stories. But when it's you, and then you've got people you've never met in person, but you feel closer to them, kind of to your point earlier, than you do some people you know in person. It's just wild, man. It's like this big support network or whatever of people, and it's phenomenal to have that. Like real friendships too, you know?
Oh, absolutely. But, just because you haven't met in person doesn't mean you can't be friends.
Yeah.
Quality friends.
Yeah.
At that.
Right.
And I'm glad you touched on that subject of sexual trauma, because I only realized how prevalent it is for males after attending a few ayahuasca first responder and military only ceremonies. The amount of men that have suffered sexual abuse, mostly in their childhood, but many in the military as well, blows me away. I think the estimate is like 20% of men have suffered some sort of sexual trauma. I see double that number, bro. And I think I've had 4 or 5 guests now that have spoken about it. And kudos to you guys for all speaking about it. Excuse me. Because there's still a stigma, unfortunately. And many of the men going through it are suffering shame, and they blame themselves. Mm-hmm. You guys did nothing wrong. It's a fucking, scumbag that did that to you. You guys did nothing wrong. I was actually telling my wife, like, thank God, therefore the grace of God go I was that little kid that easily could have been abused by anyone. Thank God it just didn't happen to me, but it could have happened. It could have easily happened. So if you guys are carrying that pain, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how fierce you become, you still have to heal from that pain. Yeah. Get counseling. If you want to go to psychedelic route, whatever modality you decide, I don't care how many years have passed, man, it's not going to heal itself. You guys have to do the work, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. And I promise you, once you heal, you will be happy again. Trust me, when I was going through the darkest times, you thought I was ever going to be happy again? I'm like, fuck, and this is it for the remainder. And I was not happy about that, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is unique how many guys have experienced that go into these career fields. And just for clarification, it was from an older kid. It wasn't anybody like family related.
Okay.
I don't want anybody to speculate, because it was a neighbor. But yeah, it's wild, man, and it's hard as a man, especially like dealing with that, and then having to sit in a room and talk about it, and it's still not easy. I don't bring up a whole lot, but it's weird how something like that could like really shape a big part of your life,
Yeah. I mean, that early trauma, even though you think, it happened at 5 years old, you get over that at some point. Nah, man, in some respects, you stop growing as a boy at that 5-year point. And again, it's never going away until you deal with it. And, kudos to you for doing it and speaking about it, because every time you speak about it, there's going to be a guy watching this. Yeah. And he's going to raise his hand and be like, yo, man, it happened to him too. Like, I'm not the only guy. I'm not abnormal. I didn't do anything wrong, and you guys didn't. So please address that, man, because you can be happy again. Yeah. So brother, tell us what you're doing today. You're crazy busy, always dropping new stuff. You technologically, I love the stuff you put out.
You give me too much credit, man. You give me too much credit.
No, absolutely. Your stuff's serious.
Thank you. So I still run the business. It's a personal training studio. It's a private personal training studio. So it's all one-on-one, appointment-only sessions. And I do that as my day job. And then the podcast, I've got a schedule where I don't have Jacob on Wednesdays or Thursdays. So every Wednesday and every Thursday I record episodes. And in between, I'm putting clips out. I'm doing promotional stuff. Like today, I learned how to get on Amazon Music and Apple. So now I'm on everything. I just figured it out today.
I told you your wife did it for me.
Yeah.
Like a massage for every 10. I think I'm always 6 massages.
Yeah, you were a lot, dude. But a lot of it, man, is just like I don't make any money doing the podcast. I see it as a way to give back. However, I would like to do more with it and be able to actually do this for a living, because I really feel like I love fitness. I'm blessed to have the business I have, but I really feel like I'm helping people with this platform. And I've been a trainer for over 20 years. I've had my business for 12. And it's just, I kind of feel like I'm ready to step into, because you know how it is, man. You start to evolve, you start to grow, and you start to kind of work more on yourself. I just feel like I'm kind of I'm at this point in my life where there's something else on the horizon, and I really feel like this is going to be a big year. And I'm not saying that in an arrogant way. I just feel like there's some doors that are starting to open for me, and I'm not a patient person, so I'm just kicking them down.
Me too, bro.
So, but it's cool because we're talking about getting, you were mentioning earlier about like us being friends and being supportive. We never met in person. My clientele at work, they know I have a podcast, but they're not really interested in it. And it's probably because it's a men's mental health based thing. But so I'm almost like when I'm at work, it's like a different world than when I get to do the podcast stuff. It's weird. Yeah. It's a very creative outlet for me. And I've never really had a hobby, and this has almost turned into a hobby for me.
Yeah, I mean, I never in a million years would have seen myself. I never thought, this was not possible. It was not something I ever thought I'd be doing. And only literally till when the universe gave me that message, I was like, okay, if this is my purpose in life, then it's going to be. Now I just have to figure out how to go about it. But I love it. I love hearing the stories. I love helping. I love having my dog bark in the middle of a podcast. It's funny, man. People go crazy. I'm just like, cool. It adds a little more ambiance to the podcast. Like,
it's all good.
Worked up about shit. That's one good thing about seeing so much death and destruction, bro. I realize like the important stuff in life, and it's not the fact that my dog is barking on our podcast. Not about to lose my mind over that.
Yeah.
I just really, the psychedelics have given me the beauty to look at life from a different perspective. Like I look at things I've seen my entire life from a different perspective. I look at things I never really acknowledged now, period. My wife has been in this higher consciousness thing for years. It wasn't my thing. I never made fun of her, but now I am. And it's funny, like me and Taylor are going to have a Zoom tonight at 7:30 Wednesday nights. And, I see two tatted up meatheads talking, and I'm like, brother, can you imagine if someone was to walk in either of our rooms and see us talking? They think we're talking about like guns, chicks, drinking, talking about like manifesting, vibrating on higher frequencies, love. Like it's the funniest thing. You would never think these two meatheads are talking about this, but that's my life, and I love it, man. You could still be that warrior, in a garden. And I'm never going to be that gardener in a war, but you don't have to walk around with that hatred and that fierceness and that anger at all times. It does not suit you. Mm-hmm. Yours is gone too, I assume. For the most part. It's not complete. Like I'm in therapy now, bro. I still have anger issues. I still have stoicism issues where, I'm excited, but you wouldn't know it. My wife will ask me, you excited to do something? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. So I want to become more expressive, and the anger still pops up periodically. Don't get me wrong. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah. My anger is more driving. That's still one I have not mastered. Oh my God. And
I'm working on that.
I still drive like a cop sometimes, but
I have a Trackhawk. So
nice. Yeah, nice.
So
nice.
If they're not getting out of my way, I'm like 140 and a 40. That's too slow for me.
And I still kind of I'm way better. I'm way more self-aware and in control of my emotions, but I have a smart mouth. And so sometimes I'll speak without thinking, but usually in the gym, like I had Anthony Blubello on, and he's real good buddies with Xander. So he was Xander's basically strength conditioning coach when they were in Italy together.
Oh, nice.
And so we were talking, and he said he's kind of learned how to like talk nice to himself, like you were saying, but when he's training. Dude, I tried that the other day, and I was like, "Yeah, fuck this." It's like, because I'm a metalhead, dude. Like I love Pantera, I love hard music, and it gets my adrenaline flowing. And the way I see it is like, as men, when we were growing up, anger was the only acceptable emotion, right? We couldn't cry, we couldn't be vulnerable, we couldn't be transparent. But anger will get you in a lot of trouble, and I feel like in the gym, that's the only place we can like tap into our primal emotions. And so I see the gym as kind of my way of getting out that aggression because I can't do it anywhere else. Yeah. I can't rip somebody's head off on the street or cuss somebody out, which you shouldn't do that anyways. But like, so I use the gym as kind of my way to decompress a little bit. And but yeah, so I haven't totally I still have anger, but it's not directed at innocent people.
Listen,
like it used to be.
Harnessed anger is valuable, bro. Don't get me wrong.
It is.
I love that fire. Like when I was about to get down at work or something like that, man, that fire started. I'm like, yeah, it's on, baby.
Yeah.
I love that fire. And yeah, I use it for lifting, but I'm trying to eradicate it from parts of my life where it is not useful, because it is a destructive emotion when it's not used in the right places and if you don't have it harnessed.
Yep.
So, brother, it's been fantastic talking to you as usual. Anything that you want to speak about, promote?
Yeah, man. So the podcast, like I said before, I drop a new episode every Wednesday and every Thursday, and I get the episodes out the same day. So if you come on the show, unless something weird happens, it'll be out that night. I am looking at possibly getting into doing some public speaking. I've been approached about that a few times, so I'm kind of looking into that. And I'll be honest with you, Mike. I mean, every guy that keeps coming on the show has one of these, and it's kind of motivating me. Maybe I need to write a book too. But
brother, it's cathartic too.
When I first got sober, I actually started out doing that, and I thought maybe I should do that. So honestly, man, I'm just taking this thing where it'll go and loving every minute of it. And I've got a good schedule with my little boy. I'm seeing my daughter more, so life is good, man. I'm trying to be grateful. I'm trying to enjoy it and not look at it like, oh, what's over there? What's on the other side of the fence? That grass looks greener. What's that? So I'm trying to live in the moment. I've always struggled with that. I've never been able to just live in the moment. I'm always looking ahead to the future, like what's down the road.
Me too, bro.
So I'm trying to slow down, man, and just be present,
Yep. Listen, the journey is where the beauty's at. Mm-hmm. Bro, there's never a destination, because there's always something after that. So enjoy the journey every day, man, and you appreciate it. And I'm trying to do the same thing. Trust me, I know. Like, I was talking to T last week, and I'm like, yo, bro, this whatever should be going faster. He's like, are you nuts? He's like, look at blah, 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 blah. He's like, calm down, man. Just enjoy it. Look what's going on. And I'm like, you're right, bro. He's like, you need to just pat yourself on the back every now and then and say, look at what I've done already. Not worry about what you still have to do. So, it's valuable advice for all of us, because most of us do that, man.
Dude, you're crushing it, man. I'm really proud of you. You are crushing it, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
You are, man. You are.
It's funny. In my own head, I definitely don't think so. And, I try to stay so humble that sometimes I don't appreciate, like, my wins. And I'm trying to become more conscious of that. Like, I don't know. It's weird. I try to make myself small so people don't say I'm arrogant. And I don't think I'd ever be arrogant, but I don't acknowledge and don't appreciate as much. So I need to work on that as well, to be honest with you.
Are you proud of yourself?
I am.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I truly am, man. After, I was talking about today, after all the pain I've gone through, I never thought that it would be able to use for helping others. So I'm proud that I went through everything and got through everything, and I'm here today. And now, as my buddy Wiz Buckley says, man, I want to put the ladder down and help others. That's it. And it's a noble purpose, and it's the only thing I want to do. So, yeah, I'm proud of the way I've come out of it and the man I am now. DJ Shipley and I were talking last year. I went to training with his company about our healing journeys and stuff. And I'm like, DJ, I'm proud of the man I am now. He's like, so am I. We're both like, life's beautiful, man. We're supposed to feel, and neither of us felt the fucking thing, because we cow stuff so much not to absorb pain. It's not a way to live, bro. It's just existing.
I want to see your service alligator that you have.
The what?
Your alligator. Remember that post you made where the alligator was near your house?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. I almost said that today when you were doing the thing with the dog outside. I was like, where's the alligator? I want to see the alligator.
That cat was actually walking down the street. I caught up to him. He was in the woods, but literally was like 5 feet away from me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. I'm like, this is nuts. But my cousin lives in Connecticut, and she's got bears. I'm like, I'll take gators walking down the street.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Instead of bears walking down the street, because I can outrun a gator, man.
Yeah.
So you can have that.
That's funny.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, brother. Been fantastic speaking to you as usual. So all the links will be in the bio if you guys want to reach out to Steve. What is your Insta, Steve? Just in case it'll be in the links as well.
Peace, Power, and Purpose Podcast. Easy to find. Yep.
All right. Guys, if you like what you saw, please hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.
Order, shot fire, officer down, shot fire, officer down. Got a city officer down, shot fire.
223, be advised, we have a visual on enemy paratroopers in grid Papa uniforms.
Welcome to the Resilient Warrior Nation, a podcast dedicated to inspiring hope and healing for first responders, military veterans, and anyone facing PTSD and trauma.